Hey everyone, so today we're going to be doing exercise 7, the head and skull, which is my favorite exercise, so let's get into it. So we're just going to kind of skip those regions. The regions are going to be what's bolded on your sheet. Just know that all the bones underneath it in unbolded letters are part of that, so just kind of get used to having those regions. So what we have first is your zygomatic process. Your zygomatic is this guy right here, and so that's right here. Your zygomaticus. Next, what we have is your external auditory meatus, which is your ear hole right there. And on the inside, the internal auditory meatus is you just look around and which one is on the opposite side of your ear right there. Your styloid process, that's these little pointy things right here on the bottom of the skull. And so just remember a stylus kind of looks like a pen. I guess I have a pen right here. See how those are kind of the same? You just got to kind of, what's really nice about the skull is they all have really different names. So as long as you can differentiate between the two, it's super easy to memorize all this stuff. Next, what we have is your mastoid process. I think massive process, which is a big bulge right here. Next, what we have your carotid canal. And so let me see if I can get a good view on that one. So your carotid, if we look right here, so here's your jugular foramen. This is right there. Next, what we have is your carotid, which is going to be on the opposite side. Let's see if I can get a better picture. So it's going to be right here on the opposite side of the jugular foramen. Next, what we have is your occipital, and so that's your foramen magnum. And so that foramen, whole, magnum, massive, boom, occipital condyles. So right here are your occipital condyles, and you can kind of see right here. Perfect. External protuberance. So this is, if you feel the base of your skull, you'll feel a little bit of a bump. That's right here. That's the bump. Your hypoglossal canal is, if you look at your foramen magnum, there's these holes right here. Let's see. That's the best way to... Right there is your hypoglossal canal. Perfect. Next, what we have is your ethmoid. And so what this has is your cribriform plates, your greater wings, and your optic canal. So your sella turcica is this little saddle right there, and right in front of it is where your pituitary gland goes. Next, what we have your greater wings. If you like butterflies, these are the greater wings. So you can kind of see they look like butterfly wings. Next, what we have is your optic canal, which you can guess it is your optic and a hole that goes to your optic canal. So if you flip this around, again, the camera does not help us out any. Just look, the best way that I do it is see that little hole right there, that's your optic canal. So for any of these questions, we're gonna have a string or a pointer that goes through it. So you can pick it up if you want to. And if you see a hole going through the eye hole, that's your optic canal. Next, what we have is your ethmoid, and sorry, I misspoke. The sella turcica, greater wings, and optic canal are part of your sphenoid, while your ethmoid has your cribriform plates, your crista galli, and nasal conchae. So your cribriform plates are going to be right here, the kind of really dark region that people have penciled out, while your crista galli, there's going to be this little spine, which is in between the two plates. And then your nasal conchae is... So what we have next is your nasal conchae, still part of your ethmoid, and so that's going to be right here. And so as you can see, they kind of curl. And so what conchae means is scrolls. Next, what we have is your mandible. And so your mandibular ramus is going to be right here, right on this corner. So this is your ramus right there. Your condylar process and your coronoid process are these two things right here, with your condylar being the pointy one and your coronoid being these rounded ones. Next, what we have is your mandibular foramen. And so that's going to be right back here. You can't really see it too well, but see how there's kind of a hole right there on the mandible. There's the hole, so mandibular foramen. Next, what we have is your coronoid process, which we already talked about. Your mental foramen is going to be these holes right here at the very front of your mental. Your alveolar process is where your teeth go in. Your maxilla is going to have your palatine process and your infraorbital foramen. So your palatine process is your palate right there, and your infraorbital is going to be right there. Infraorbital foramen. So orbital, whole foramen. Next, what we have is just some more things. So your palatine is going to be just kind of right in this region. Your zygomatic region is going to be where your zygomatic bone is, or your zygomatic process. Your nasal, nose, vomer, down right here, and your hyoid is also down there as well. Finally, for the skull, what we have is just some different regions. So you have your zygomatic region, which is going to be right there. Your nasal region, nose. Your vomer is going to be this middle bone right there. As you can see, your vomer is that middle bone, and your hyoid is down here, which you can't see on either of those. So next what we're going to be doing is articulations of the skull. Number one, the sutures. So what we're going to start off with is all of the sutures of the skull. So your coronal suture is going to be this guy right here. Your sagittal, and this is kind of hard to pick up, is going in the sagittal plane, divides left and right. Next what we have is your squamous suture, your lambdoidal and occipitomastoid suture. And so we can look at that right here. So your lambdoidal is going to be on the back part right here. Your squamous is going to be right here. Or your occipitomastoid is going to be down onto this part. So you can see your mastoid process, your occipital condyles. So your occipitomastoid is going to be right in between the two of them. And so that is your sutures. And then we can get into the facial muscles. And so here's one model. We have a bunch of these muscles are these models, but they're all generally the same because it is all the same muscles that are being identified. So we can start with the epicranius, which is going to be like kind of your forehead region. Your orbicularis oculi, which is going to be your eye muscles right here. Your levator labii, which is going to be right underneath, and they're going like this. And then your orbicularis oris, which is your mouth muscles right on your lips. Your buccinator is going to be going left and right, right here. And your zygomaticus major is these guys right here, and see they connect to your zygomaticus right there. So they're these muscles right there. Part D, your TMJ, what we're going to want is I want you guys to fill out 1, 2, 3, and 4, and just being able to know what the origin, insertion, and action is, because pretty soon what we're going to be getting into is just entire exercises, which it's only those 3 information. So you need to find origin, insertion, and action each yourself. As you can see, we filled out a couple of them just to get you started. And that is everything for exercise 7. So I'll see you guys all in class on Thursday for this. I hope you guys enjoy this content as much as I do. Bye.